Hey all, how's it going today? Thought I'd do a short video on setting up the sensors and switches inside this Waypoint Abode. This is a new starter base that I've been working on a little bit here and there, and it's just about done now. It is a second generation of a type of base like the Sanctuary ST. In fact, it took some design cues from it. The Sanctuary ST was my first starter base, and I thought it was decent at the time. It did, however, use quite a bit of iron and had no solar. It had two farm sections, 72 plots total, so 36 per side, and it did not come with any grow plots. You would add those in after the fact. At the time in the game, grow plots were kind of hard to get, especially early on, and this quantity. And you needed those to build this base. So they were left out on purpose, but in airtight rooms. So this base also came with quite a few storage boxes, 4 constructors, and most everything you would want. Um, but, and came out to a 49-minute build time, but was requiring almost 800 iron yet. It didn't require any rares, and a lot of the construction was done with stone. So it was trying to save on money. Also had 3 turrets. So this new base, to start with, look at the stats on it. Now, one other thing too, this, of course, the new storage units were not in place at the time when this was built. The new base is coming at about a minute longer on build time, but if you look at the iron cost, it is far, far lower. Still does not require any cobalt. Now, a couple differences with this base is, so it's roughly about the same cost, except it's going to be using more wood and less iron. However, what this base offers in comparison to the Sanctuary ST is it does have 5 gun mounts, and it comes with them. So 5 cannon turrets just to keep the cost down. This is a solar base and comes with 12 large solar panels. Now I'm close to the pole on the planet right now, so this is as bright as I can make it where I'm at right now, so I can't get the sun above it. But if the sun, if it was noon, these solar panels work very effectively. They can all see the sun, especially if it's coming down. So you have those on 3 sides. Another side effect with the Sanctuary was there was no way to get HVs up to this landing area on the top. That's something I considered when building this one. So what I did on this back area, I actually used solar panels as part of a ramp so you could roll up HVs on top of this building. A couple other things that are different is inside here we have 3 constructors, so 1 constructor less. It has a much smaller grow plot area, so only 36 plots total, so about half that of the Sanctuary. However, it comes with 2 320K storage bins, and well, basically solar, and just about everything else that you could want in here. Now I'm going to put in a switch for shutting down the constructors and cooking station, things like that. In fact, cooking station, yeah, that's over here. And I need to put some graphics or these some LCDs in place here to say what the storage is. I like to do that, just kind of a fun thing. And it needs its sensors and the lighting rigged up. So that's kind of what I wanted to do in this tutorial, is to get the final preps going. And what I plan on doing is releasing this base tomorrow. So it's about there. One other unique thing with this base is underneath this solar panel section, there's open ground. Now this is outside of the base, and this is not an airtight area. However, if placed properly, going into the water, and I'll spawn that in a little bit to show you what I mean, is you could put water harvesting things inside your base area. So like if you wanted to, you know, pop in whatever you want, water purifiers or whatnot. Water purifier, I don't think there's such a thing, but you know what I mean. Um, so that's how that's coming out. So on sensors, I'm going to need 3 sensors total. I want 1 sensor to control the lighting in this room. I want a sensor out front to control the front light when you walk up to the door, and a sensor in back doing about the same thing. So I'm just going to find a place. It doesn't matter so much in this room where I put the sensor. It's pretty easy to deal with. Now sometimes sensors are a real pain in the butt to place, trying to get the right angles and whatnot. So first thing I'll do is color the sensor, and we'll call this interior. Alright. And then we will go through and we'll set its range. Well, it looks like it's coming down to the floor just fine right now. Make sure it's not going too far. Okay. Right to the floor. And let's get this direction set. Also out back, or around this bend here, is where you have a lot of your goods. So you have some fuel tanks, solar capacitor. This is where the air is coming out at. And I got to test that too. Maybe I'm blocking this off. That is a strong possibility. But let's see. Let's keep on going with that to get it to this end hallway. And let's see. And out to there. That side, and then this side. Okay, so that should cover all the interior space on here. So let me just set all these lights to it now. So you're gonna go on interior. I like to do this on all the builds. As you can, you know, there's no sense keeping them on if you're not there. Not that it uses much power, but it uses a little bit. And I do put in quite a bit of lights. I like to have these bases, you know, when it's nighttime, I want to be able to see where I'm going without having to use a flashlight. Just one of my things. I get this one ready, yeah. Let's see, and alright, so a quick test on that. Let's see if I missed any. Oh, I'm still in. Yeah, I gotta get out of range. A little tough sometimes when you set them and you can't see where you're at. Huh. There's gotta be a way. How about I walk out this door, open this door. Oh, I think I got this one. No, that one is done. Here, I'm gonna set it to nighttime. Just want to make sure it's working right. So, come on, you should shut off. There you go. Maybe I'm going one past the door here. Check that a minute. Oh, you know, I kind of have to. Alright. I do believe that is all the lights in here, though. So we got one there, one here, two there, and another one over there. was trying to be fairly sparing with how many lights I placed. I could put in a couple more, but I think it lights it up decent enough to see at the time. Okay, so that one's in place. Next, I want to get a sensor on the front door. Now this one's kind of easy at the time because I thought about that prior, so I could pop one right here. Technically this is the back door, I think, but I'm going to call it the front door because it certainly looks like the front of the base. So let's see, we'll drag that down a little bit and move this forward. And I want to back it off a little bit on the front there. So get it to right there. Give it a little bit more width. One more on width. And one more on front. So anywhere in this range here will activate the front door. Let me see where I'm at on the inside. I want it to open up one square before you get to the door. So when you walk in front of this door, it automatically opens and you don't have to stand there and wondering if it's going to open or not. So I'll bring it back to this point here. Then again, I don't want it triggering every time you walk over this way either. So let's bring this in. It'll be a little tighter, I guess. But I'll bring it into this point here. So then you shouldn't keep on triggering the door if you have to like run over and put ammo in the box or whatnot. That would be annoying. And same thing over here. Oop. Alright, so I guess I'm going to keep it pretty thin this time. Alright, so this only needs to trigger a couple things here. We'll have it trigger the door itself. Alright. So now when you come up, you get your light, the door opens up, you run inside, closes up, shuts off the light behind you. Then these lights kick in. So now one more area is this area down here. Now this one's pretty cramped on space. I have a couple lights that I threw on the side here just to give it some general lighting inside this area. Now it's intended, you know, if you're on a planet that has water and whatnot, the optimal point would be to have this area over water, but it's not necessary. I'm thinking over here a good place for a sensor would be all the way on one of these walls, since most of these areas, like this is too low to put the sensor because the door goes up over here, and about the best place I could think of is like on one of these sides here. Problem is, again, I want it to open the door one square in. This is one of these problem areas, and I run into this quite a bit with how do you get a sensor in here to work right. I keep on thinking I could try it here. My only concern is, and I'm going to test this a minute. If I'm walking, is that gonna? Nope. Okay. Once in a while, especially on SVs, if I place a sensor right above your head, it will kind of block you and kind of push you off to one side or the other, which is annoying. So I try to avoid that at all costs. But that looks like a pretty good place for a sensor. I think that will do the job. So we'll call this one the back door. And looks like it's already going down to the ground. And okay, we go one block in and all the way out, probably to here. And this is for being on foot mainly, so I probably actually don't need it that far out. Well, about one block in. See how we're doing on the inside. Of course, again, I do not want it to trigger every time you're doing business inside the room, so I'm going to tighten this up to be closer area. So you need to be within these blocks here around the door for it to open. All right. So set these to the back door. And of course the door itself. Alright, so that should be off and coming on in. There you go. Next is to get some LCDs in, and I was cheating a little bit because I don't really feel like making brand new LCDs right now. I summoned the Sphinx in, which has the newest line of LCD panels that I can steal. So let's grab one of these here. So we'll call this one here Storage Bay 1. And I think I'll go with my stock coloring, just the orange with black, pretty simplistic. Pop in this one too. Storage Bay 2. Alright, and last, we got another switch over here for crafting power. And constructors, I don't know if it's the case anymore, but they used to consume quite a lot of power just being on. And I like to have the option to turn those off if you're not using them. So let's see. Let's take this sign, we'll modify it ever so slightly. This does not have a repair bay. Don't intend on it doing that function ever. So we'll just say crafting power. Oop. And I don't think that's going to all fit on one line. That looks pretty centered. Did I rig this already? Crafting. Okay, let's just make sure I've got... Okay, it looks like I already did rig this one. So the constructors are set to crafting. And I want the food processor to be set to crafting as well. But not the fridges. Really suck if you got all your food in there and you turn off the crafting power, go out on some adventure somewhere and come back and all your food's rotted. Don't want that. Alright, so that pretty much covers all the rigging on this base. It didn't have much to do. And one last little detail is we can set these LCDs to also respond to the interior lights. I think, I would have to study that and see how much power does an LCD actually require to be on. I'm sure very, very little. I don't even know if it's noticeable, but, you can easily turn them off. Got to see if any of this other stuff can be turned on or off. No, it's just a lock. I think, yeah, it's a lock too. I don't want to mess with those. And I can't think of anything else that needs to be shut down. Now, next part is I did want to find a place to put in more O2. I realize that I only have 2 O2 canisters, and I believe they're that size. That's not much. They can actually be anywhere, but this hallway is pretty full already, so I can't really squeeze much more in here. And the sloped ceiling is actually for a reason, because it's a divider between the solar panel and you, or at the interior of the base. So I have to keep those there. Now I could probably dump some O2 out in this region. And I'm just using these really cheap ones because this is an unlocked 7 base. I wanted it to be 5. I thought it was going to be 5, and then I discovered, and there was a comment on when I showed this before, that these extension containers, or container extensions, unlock at level 7. Nothing I can do about that if you want the new storage. So this would be a nice little out of the way place to put a couple, saying, I don't know how many I want. These are probably really inexpensive. Alright, well, 6 additional ones. What does that do to the build? Did add 1 minute of build time. Well, also the sensors were added too. Not too bad, I can deal with that. So about 52 minutes on build time on the base. Alright. Oh, I also added a couple cargo boxes, mainly for looks, but yeah, they work. Gives you, holy smokes. Am I reading that right? It's got 8,000 on one of these. It's not too bad. It's not like a 320k, but hey, it's better than nothing. In this base too, there is more room to add things, and I do realize that some of this ceiling could interfere with placing things in certain places, but there are other spaces around here and there, but got to have a little bit of looks too. And actually this whole strip here has a full 2-height ceiling in case you wanted to add in medical or whatnot. Have a little bit of room. Okay, now to test the air, let me first fill this thing up. We will turn it on. I have a feeling I might have a problem here, but we'll see. I'm gonna hop in the N tool, under debug, show oxygen. No, I do not have a problem. Looks like how I've got the air set up, something doesn't, yeah, okay, so the air set up here, and on the other side here, it's able to escape through this area here. It looks like I just plain and simply have an open block there. Is that actually true? And did I forget Wi-Fi? I'm not seeing it for some reason. See, I originally built this about 2 weeks ago, and now I'm trying to remember exactly where I put things. And I know I emptied out some stuff. Let's see, can I tell if it's got Wi-Fi in the stat screen anywhere? I don't think it's kind enough to tell you that. Solar battery, mid chambers, ventilators. Does not look like it. I don't think I actually have Wi-Fi here right now, so let's go get some of that. Oh, I already added equip too. So this looks like a good place for Wi-Fi. And that does not interfere with the air. So I think we're golden there too. So this is basically the final stages of any of the creations I do. I got to go through and check them out and try to make everything work and test it. I've missed stuff in the past. I really have. I'm trying to get better at this process. I don't like releasing things and then having to, you know, get a comment, hey, blah, 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 doesn't work, or this is screwed up, or this isn't set right, or blah, blah, blah. And it's very helpful, and I appreciate those comments, but I don't like to have things wrong in the first place, I guess. So last thing I do is I'll go over to the devices, and I will just do this auto group. Now, I don't normally get into making my own groups. I kind of leave them stock. I might get into that more. I normally also don't get into setting up a bunch of custom switches here because I have a lot of manual switches. I probably should do both. Problem is, though, if I set a custom switch over here, I believe it will, and say I wanted a custom switch to turn this on and off, it won't move this physical switch. So then if you set it there and you come in, it'll look like your crafting is still on, but it might not be, and then you gotta like hit the switch a couple times to get it back in the same setting, I guess. So a little bit problematic. It's not a big deal. So that pretty much does it for what I wanted to show on this time. And my next part would probably be taking a lot of screenshots. And just to show you one thing here, let me get this ship out of the way here a minute. Ah! Alright. So I got one of my bigger tanks. Not the biggest, but a bigger one. You're going to hop in the cockpit, and we're going to drive this right up the base. And we're docked. So that is the ramp in action, the solar panel ramp to get to the roof. If you want to park your vehicles up there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and you all have a good day. Thanks a lot.